So we're out here in the desert and I am hungry, and I realized I don't have a lot of food. So it's time for me to go through my cabinet and my fridge and figure out what I can make. So let's take a look. I've got pasta left over from when I made that Mexican pasta dish. I have some sardines, which I realize is not everyone's favorite, but they can be delicious, and they are definitely super nutritious. And kale, which is kind of in the same boat as the sardines, very nutritious. A lot of people are afraid of it, but it can be delicious if you do the right thing with it. So I am boiling up a little bit of pasta, and we'll see what comes. And Teri had some leftover marinated grilled artichoke halves from Trader Joe's, and I found a little bit of onion. That's definitely going in there. And what would a pasta dish be without some garlic? So do you just dump out your pasta water? Don't do that. Well, you can dump out most of it, but save some aside if you're going to be making a sauce, because this viscous, slightly salty, starchy liquid will add a ton of flavor, and it will improve the texture of your pasta dish. So add, well, depends on how much you're cooking, but add at least a few tablespoons of this to your sauce, and it will make a big difference. So in a pan, I'm going to put some olive oil and the onions. I want the onions to get a little brown, so I'm going to sprinkle them with some sea salt. It helps the browning process. It'll make them nice and sweet. So the onions are cooking over medium heat, and they're going to take a while if you want them nice and brown. Just a heads up. Just let them sit there and stir them occasionally. And like I said, that salt is going to draw out some of the water and help them brown. So some of you are grossing out about the thought of eating sardines, and you probably remember your grandpa eating them. He ate them for a good reason. They're super nutritious. They're packed with minerals and good fats and obviously protein, but they're also kind of cheap. And so they're just fantastic. You should really try to eat them. And you may not like them on their own, but in a nice pasta dish or a salad, you could probably tolerate them, and you'd be doing something good for your body. The onions are, well, actually they're starting to burn, but they're getting there. The rest of them are starting to brown a bit. So at this point, I'm going to put in some red chili flakes. Totally optional. I know not all of you like that. And I'm going to put in garlic. It's important not to put the garlic in too early. Like, do not add them while you're adding the onions, because the garlic will burn, and you do not want that. Burned garlic is really kind of gross. It's gonna kind of ruin your dish. So add the garlic when the onions are close to being done. I'm just gonna let the garlic warm up. You can already smell it becoming fragrant. So the sardines come whole, and what I'm gonna do, now don't be scared, but I'm going to kind of break them up, and they have bones in them. Most of the bones are so small that they are just fine to go into the dish, but some of the bones, like the spine, is just a little big. It's edible. It's just that it's going to be a little crunchy. So I know it's gross, but pull apart your sardines a bit, break them up. You don't want real big pieces of sardine because we're not putting a lot in there, so you might as well spread it out. And a big bite of sardine is going to be fishy. I like fishy, but I don't want a whole mouthful of fishy. You just want a little fishy. You want it balanced. And I'm going to add some lemon juice to this, and the garlic, and the green of the kale. It's all going to balance out, and it's going to be delicious. Trust me. I added the kale to the pan with the onions and the sardines, and now I'm going to add the pasta water. Maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of it. Just stir it a bit. And then I cannot find the lid to my pan. When you live in a van and, you know, things get put away, and I don't know where I put it now. You would think that living in a van, you would be able to find your stuff easier, but sometimes it's the opposite. It's harder to find stuff. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a plate on top of it. The heat is not real high. It's like medium-low right now. It's going to be okay with the plate over, just to keep in some of that steam of the pasta water. Okay, the kale is soft now, and I'm going to add in these artichokes that Teri gave me. That's going to be good. Now, if you don't have artichokes, just leave them out. The kale will be good on its own. But this will just take it to the next level. So the artichokes are warmed through. I'm going to squeeze lemon on it. About half a lemon would probably work just fine. If you don't have lemon, you don't have to put it. It's not completely necessary, but I would recommend it. So go get yourself a lemon. I actually meant to put in the pasta before the lemon. It's not that big of a deal. I realized it right after I put the lemon in. So carefully stir the pasta in once you get it in the pan. Now, I used this penne because that's what I had left. But if you were to go out and buy pasta, you could buy any type you'd like. I would recommend angel hair or spaghetti. It would make a more elegant dish. But I like rustic too. This is a little more rustic. But if you're going to serve it for dinner, you may want to go with the angel hair or the spaghetti. So it's ready. And I finished it with some black pepper. I would recommend tasting it. And you might want to add extra salt. But it probably won't need it, because a lot of those ingredients had salt in them. And definitely if you salted the pasta water, try it first, because it may be too salty for you to add more salt. I'm going to give a little to Teri and Scott and see what they think.
Okay, so tell me what it is, Jimmy.
I'm looking at you.
I know you've already told them, but I have no idea what it is, so tell me.
So it's penne pasta, and it's kale with sardines, lemon, artichokes that came from you. And, and yeah, that's about it. You could use a little Parmesan cheese. I don't have any.
Oh, it's really good. Mm-hmm.
It's good?
Yep, that's really good.
Well, thank you.
I would have never have thought to use sardines. I mean, what a great thing to have in your pantry when you travel.
Yes, easy, and you can keep them in there forever if you need to. They're cheap, packed with omega-3s, protein.
Yummy.
Delicious.
Yeah.
I really liked the pasta. Teri liked it too. And Scott also tried it. He wasn't on camera, but he enjoyed it as well. He wasn't, they weren't sure if they would like kale or not. They've had it before and they did not enjoy it. It's one of those things that it depends on how you cook it. So, overall it's a success. I know this is not for everybody. You could omit the sardines definitely, and especially if you have those artichoke hearts. And what I would suggest, if you don't want the sardines, find some large Italian white beans and put it in there instead of the sardines. Or you could put it in there with the sardines. That would be good too. And thank you so much for watching my cooking video. Bon appetit!